With the help of this video, all of you will be able to write a research paper within a week. First thing to do is to be aware of general structure of a research paper. First thing is to decide the topic of the research. Next is to develop abstract, that is to explain the major findings within 1 or 2 lines of introduction. Then are the keywords that have been used in your paper. Next comes the introduction. Then what are methods that you use to perform the experiment. Afterwards comes the results. Next thing is to write the discussion, then conclusion, acknowledgements, references that are used in your text, as well the supplementary data that would be in the form of tables or figures supporting your main results. Next is basically the length of the article. Title should be short and informative, and abstract that would be less than 250 words about in a paragraph, and introduction would be about about half or 2 pages, 1.5 and 2 pages. Next comes the methods that would cover 2 to 3 pages. Then results that may cover your 6 to 8 pages, and 4 to 6 pages to the discussion, 1 paragraph to the conclusion, and 6 to 8 figures, and 1 to 3 tables. Then references should be about covering your 20 to 50 pages of the research. In order to organize your manuscript, you should do 3 imperative things to set tone of the entire process. First is the topic of research. Second is defining the hypothesis. Third is the research literature review that is relevant to your topic. Then the fifth is, in order to prepare your figures and tables, first thing, figure is almost worth 1000 words. When presenting your tables and figures, you should try to avoid crowded plots. Think about appropriate access, label size. Also include clear symbols and data. Never include long bounding tables. Try to keep it as precise as possible. Also, you can include them as a supplementary material. Next thing to do is to write the methods, how the problem was studied. If your paper is proposing a new method, you need to include detailed information so that others can reproduce experiment, and must not replicate the detail of already established methods. Next step is to write up the results. You should mention the statistical tests that are used with all the relevant parameters. For instance, mean and standard deviation. And next thing is to write the discussion that should avoid statements that cannot be supported by results. Also avoid unexpected introduction of ideas. Try to assess that do the data support your hypothesis, and are your results have consistency with all investigators. Also discuss weaknesses and inconsistencies if your results were unexpected, but further research would be necessary to answer the question raised by you. Also explain what is new in your findings without exaggerating. Last but not the least, also write a clear conclusion. Separate last paragraph of the discussion. Without a clear conclusion, reviewers will find it difficult to judge your work. And the common error is repeating the abstract or just listing experimental research, so try to avoid it. You should provide a clear scientific justification of your work. And Also, write a compelling introduction. Decent introduction should address the following questions: what is the problem to be solved? Are there any existing solutions? Which solution is the best? What is its main limitations? What do you hope to accomplish through your research? And then also write the abstract: what have you done and what are the main findings. That's it in the abstract. And afterwards compose a concise and descriptive title that would be itself presenting your research. That's the first impression, and it should be very powerful. Why? We are all flooded by publications, and readers don't have time to read all scientific production. They must be selective, and their selection often comes from the title. So your title should be specific. Editors hate titles that make no sense, fail to present the subject matter adequately. Keep the title informative and concise. Also, your selection of keywords for your indexing, keywords that are used for indexing your paper. Use only abbreviations firmly established in the field. Avoid those words which are not broadly used in the text. Then write your acknowledgement. Thank those people who have contributed to the manuscript, so to in your research, not to the extent where they would justify authorship. For example, here you can include technical help and assistance with writing and proofreading, editing. Then write up the references. Most of the mistakes observed in this section. Try to avoid the use of unpublished observations, manuscripts, and publications that are not peer reviewed, or literature articles that are not published in English. And also, finally, check the following: that the spelling of author names and the publication years or punctuation in those references. And lastly, that you have included all the references. And that's all about the research. Hope it will be helpful to you.